last week, and I don't think I actually got to talk about this with anybody because Bureau wasn't there for Monday Evening Quarterback. So I think it was just me talking about this when I did that. But obviously, in the Jaguars-Texans game, there was a big hit against Trevor Lawrence that knocked his ass out. Azeez Al-Shaair, who pretty notable for the Texans because he's been involved in a lot of other bullshit over the last few years, from choking Tom Brady to throwing a punch on Roschon Johnson in the sidelines that he didn't even get flagged for, things like this. A lot of people view him as kind of a dude who can let his emotions get the better of him. Well, he hit Trevor Lawrence late, and I even said then that I think that if it was just based on that hit alone, I don't think a suspension is necessarily warranted. Because it was a bang play. We've seen a couple of guys, people like Patrick Mahomes, try to use the fake slide or the idea that they might be going out of bounds to trick defenders and things like that. People have been taking advantage of the rules, and this is what we saw in real time.
Oh, there's no doubt that Trevor represents that well. And oh my!
Now, certainly launched at him, led with the forearm right to the head, knocked Trevor Lawrence the fuck out. And I think it should have been a flag. I even think potential ejection, regardless of what happened in the fight afterwards. But if it was just this hit, where you're launching a millisecond after Trevor Lawrence officially starts his slide, it's tough for me to justify a suspension. However, when you factor everything else in that Azeez Al-Shaair has done,
history,
and he's proven time and time again over the last several years that that's just who he is, right? He lets his emotions get the best of him. He's constantly doing this shit, throwing punches on the sidelines. I think if you factor it all in, a suspension could potentially be on the table, and it was. He gets suspended 3 games. And this is after he plays victim. He issues an apology where he doesn't really apologize and basically makes it all out to just be anti-Islamists and anti-black people. That's the reason he's getting any criticism for knocking Trevor Lawrence unconscious. Just a couple days after that, after his fake bullshit apology, and he finds out he's actually getting suspended, he says, fine, I'll be your villain. This is Azeez Al-Shaair. I guess your fake apology really didn't mean much, did it? If you want me to be your villain, I'll be your villain. See you soon, with his Free Palestine cleats on, posting a picture of Arthur Fleck as the Joker, and posting this thing about, hey, rely on Allah. I hate Azeez Al-Shaair. I think he's a fucking piece of shit. I do think he's dirty in the sense of the word, that he is one of those guys when he goes out there, he will let his emotions get the best of him and he doesn't care what happens. He'll fight his own teammates, shit like that. I think he's a fucking animal. I really do. But the whole, like, I'm sorry, and all his teammates, the Houston Texans, coming out and saying he's a really good guy. He's just a best guy. And it's so sad to see what's happening to him. He didn't deserve a 3-game suspension just for the Trevor Lawrence thing, but I fucking hate this dude now. He's a massive piece of shit, and he can go fuck himself.
Seems like he's the Draymond Green of the NFL. That's who he seems to be. Why is he bringing Islam into it? I mean, who is actually attacking his religion?
Because he doesn't have another argument.
Yeah, pretty much.
I will say this. There were a handful of people on Twitter or wherever that after it was like, wow, look, the guy who's wearing Free Palestine cleats and is a radical Islamist just knocked out devout Christian Trevor Lawrence. And it's like, I don't think that what was going through his mind at that point was like, I'm going to fuck up this Christian, right? I think he just wanted to get a shot on their quarterback. Hey, listen, he hit Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams was trying to run out of bounds in like the 2nd or 3rd game of the year, and it was a legal hit. Now, he tried to hit the shit out of Caleb Williams, as I think is completely proper to if the quarterback doesn't actually get down or step out. But it was in the aftermath on the Bears sidelines where he randomly, out of nowhere, punches Roschon Johnson for no fucking reason. He can't control his emotions and will fight his own teammates and shit like this. Had to be forcibly removed from the field after his ejection. I think guy's a massive piece of shit. And then to come out and say this after saying all of this shit about what a good person you are and playing victim. Oh, if you want me to be your villain, I'll be your villain. I guess your apology didn't matter, did it? He's just a fucking loser.
Yeah, he's not handling it well, and but I do think you're right. There's two things to look at here: the NFL, the punishment, and then also the hit that he delivered. Yeah, it was dirty and it was violent, and I think that's another thing that kind of gets highlighted in these situations with these hits is like what the quarterback looks like or what the player looks like after they've been hit to the head, and seeing that trauma on the field of them locking up and just going just absolutely stiff, like their entire body goes stiff and they just lock up. Like, it's tough to see, especially it's tough to see for the players on the field when they see that happen live and in person. It's different than us just watching it happen on TV. I do think that this kind of needed to happen because of the whole fake sliding, the faking running out of bounds to maybe get a late hit, or then you do run out of bounds and you do get a late hit, but it's on the quarterback out of bounds. So the refs are more likely to throw a penalty flag. Like, Patrick Mahomes has been getting away with it. There's been other mobile quarterbacks trying to, we've seen Kenny Pickett do it in college, Josh Allen and stuff. This needed to happen. One of these quarterbacks who take advantage of the protection that they get needed to get popped in the fucking mouth to stop doing this, because it is ruining football. How soft that the defenders have to play defense now. So yeah, I still think Azeez Al-Shaair is a piece of shit, but also I think what these quarterbacks have been doing is also pretty fucking gay, and somebody need to get hit in the fucking mouth.
Yeah,
you can also make the case that running backs are doing the same thing too, man. I see these flags for helmet to helmet, and a running back is the one that's leaning with his helmet down, and they always call it on the defender.
Yeah, I would not want to play defense in the NFL, right? Regardless of if you're a pass rusher, and it's so difficult sometimes, even if you get like a free awesome shot, a legal shot at the quarterback, and they're like, well, too much of your weight fell on them as you went down. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing? And when it comes to this slide, listen, if Trevor Lawrence had taken that hit and fucking kind of shook his head and, ran back to the huddle,
right,
he wouldn't be looking at this.
Correct.
It's because he looked dead on the field right after he got that. He got knocked out. His body locks up, his arms go up. We've seen that stuff happen before. And yeah, when it comes to the hit itself, was it late and illegal by the rules we have? It was. But it's so boom boom when you're in there having to make those positions, when you're trying to like time your launch and all this shit, that I don't think that hit is just deserving of the suspension. With all of the other things we've seen from Azeez Al-Shaair, I do think you can justify it. That's what I said on Monday when I was talking about this, and the NFL did say that that's the reason, because of his history of shit. But he's gone for 3 games, and I guess when he comes back, we're really going to see his villain arc.